How do we create community in the midst of an economic crisis? I believe the way that we do that is not forget what it is we're called upon to do, even in these hard economic times. I believe for this county and for this state that education still is the great equalizer, that if we provide our children with a quality education, that it will help them go on and understand a better life, but to make the world better. And so as we sit in this county, which is one of the wealthiest counties in the wealthiest nation on this earth, in a state that is one of the wealthiest states. So as we sit in this county and this state, which is number one in education, public K through 12 education, for the fourth year in a row, I believe it is, we are called upon to remember that there are those who are falling beneath the cracks. There are those who we need to reach out to and help. And so what I call this administration to do is to look at our public education system. One of the things we've done in this economic crisis is continue to fully fund our education system. But how do we make sure that we focus on those areas? Not just in the classroom, not just making sure they have great principals and great teachers and a great building to go to school in, but how do we make sure that we give them the wraparound services, undergird them the same way I was undergirded, quite honestly. And that is, how do we make sure they have health care, access to social services, mentoring, which I'll talk about in a minute, economic development? How do we make sure that the community as a whole, which is what Dr. King was preaching for us to do, act as a community, that we do those same things in Prince George's County? And so when I talk about our $50 million Economic Development Incentive Fund, it really is another tool to make sure that we provide quality of life services throughout Prince George's County. And that's what we're going to do in this administration. And so over these next 3 years, what we will be doing is looking at areas where Prince George's County can take the lead in making sure our community, our whole community, is provided the quality of life that I think they richly deserve. And by doing that, we will live up to the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King in making sure that the dream goes on. Thank you very much.